Every parent would say she's a precocious child, she's a delight, she loves insects, but her favorite critter is the ladybug. So Annabella is, she was 6 last year, she's 7 now. We bought a boat at the beginning of last summer, and we got Annabella out in it. It was her second time out in the boat. We were out in the water until about 5:30 at night. My wife said to Annie, okay, time to quit clowning around, swim to the back of the boat. And Annie swam to the boat, and she started to cry when she touched the ladder. I heaved her up by her PFD onto the back of the boat. As I put her in the back seat, I said, where does it hurt? And she started to flop her left arm like this. And I'm like, Annie, what's wrong? And then her eyes rolled in the back of her head and she started to seize. When I say seize, she started to tremor violently. So my wife just screamed, call 911.
I kept holding her hands the whole way, actually laying in the back of the boat, and I just kept saying, come on, Annie, stay with me, squeeze my hands, squeeze my hands. I wanted to keep her with me as much as I could. And initially she was squeezing my hand, but once we got onto the dock and laid her out on the dock, she even stopped doing that. The PA came out and said, look, if she doesn't come out of this seizure, I'm gonna have to intubate her. And what happened in Annabella's case, unfortunately, is she had 2 arteries that went into one vein. And so the pressure in those arteries was too great for the vein to manage, and it ruptured.
2 o'clock in the morning, the chief surgeon came out. He said that her brain is still functioning. However, the brainstem was too tightly compressed and there's no signals getting through. So there was one day, it was probably about 2 weeks in, her eye was open, her left eye was open a slit. I saw her pupil follow me. I thought, wow, that's amazing. So I yelled for the nurses and they came in and her eye opened a little bit more. And I said, Annie, I said, can you understand me? Can you blink once for yes, twice for no? And there was no response. And so I turned and said something to the nurse. I looked back at Annie and she blinked. And I said, I think she blinked to me. I said, Annie, did you just blink to my question? And she blinked again. So it was like happiest guy in the world.
After a while, she did become much more aware of what was going on and moving in the right direction. We went by car ride from Strong Memorial Hospital, which is in Rochester, New York, to the Good Shepherd Pediatric Unit in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and it was a long ride, but we were at least happy to be at our hometown again.
So Annabella unfortunately had a large arteriovenous malformation in her brain that when she was on vacation with her family ruptured and she had a large stroke. When she came to us, she was smiling, she was pleasant, she was happy to tell me about the 5-hour trip it took her to get to us. She was not moving the right side of her body at all, and she did have a tracheostomy in place to help her breathe. We assess the child medically, what their needs are, and then our physical, occupational, and speech therapists, our therapeutic recreation therapists, respiratory therapists, and nurses all assess the child. And our goal is to figure out what medically they need, what we need to do in terms of getting them stronger and healthier, and then in terms of the entire team, all the rehabilitation that they need to get them as strong as possible and as close to their baseline functioning as possible.
One of the great things about Good Shepherd is that Dr. Kaczynski will continue to see Annabella as an outpatient. And so I asked if she could have swim therapy. And so Dr. Kaczynski, of course, said, absolutely, that sounds like a great plan.
I think that we work great as a team. I think we work great with the children and the families. And we recognize that this is a terrible time in their lives, but it's our job to get the child strong and get that whole family home and happy successfully.
We kind of develop a physical trust with the kids, so they get to trust that you're not going to let them fall, that you're going to keep them safe in their basic mobility. She's so motivated and she's so willing to go after the things that she wants, so I think she has a bright future ahead of her.
She was always ready to learn new skills, work really hard, and that's a huge attribute to who she is and how well she did at rehab and how she continues to succeed.
She has her ups and her downs, you know, good days and bad days, as we all do, but I'm confident that she will never give up and she will continue to work to the point where she can do the things she wants to do.
Annabella loved it there. In fact, 3 months after we left, she came home and she asked me if she could go back to Good Shepherd.
She has asked on a number of occasions, can I go back to Good Shepherd, Mom? It's the Great Shepherd, because she came in there a weak, emaciated little girl that didn't look anything like our daughter. And after 3 months, she walked out of there. And that was the best day ever.